Okay, we can start the session. Good evening, everyone. I am Chandrasekhar. Welcome to day two of Mobile App Development Internship Program provided by Dr. Pallan Setti Innovations. I hope you enjoyed the yesterday session. Have you enjoyed the yesterday session? Okay, right. The following 5 days internship program schedule is displayed on the screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. That is the for the following 5 days program schedule. Today we are going to discuss about what is meant by Flutter and Dart programming essentials. Okay, let me introduce the dynamic speaker Anthony Olevester. He is product development scientist at Biocon. So he will deliver the today's session. Anthony sir, you can take the session.
Yeah, thanks, Chandra. So, hi everyone. My name is Anthony Olevester. Self-introduction about myself. I am from NIT Puducherry. I studied electrical and electronics. Right now, I'm working in Biocon as a product development scientist. So, today we will have a quick rundown on all the programming language that is to do with mobile app development using a Flutter. So in today's system, what we'll see is like what kind of programming language do we need, and what is a Flutter, and why do we need it, and how to implement that one into our day-to-day development of app development, web development, as well as software development. So let's see. Yeah, Chandra. So what is a Flutter? Flutter is a platform where you can develop an UI of a front-end user face, which is actually developed by Google. So what is the use of it? So it is an entity where we can code, we can have it as a development platform where we can connect it to different objects like add-ons, and we can have a set of instructions where we will have a product app to be developed in. It has like lots of different types of widgets. So if you want to add like a search bar, Google search bar, if you want to add like a different types of animation slides where you see in like YouTube scrolling bar where you can go through multiple videos and stuff like that. That type of widgets can be added quickly and instantly enabled, and it is supported for both web and desktop development. The one of the key feature about the Flutter is it is hot reload option. So what happens is in runtime, while you are actually debugging the software, you can check if your code is running or not. So what does it means is like if you have made a change, a small change like like a color change, or if you have some function which is having first returning something else. Right now we have changed it to a video format from image format. Then you can immediately see the output in the hot reload function. And the best part about this Flutter is it is backed by Google, which means in future if there is like any new change, new dynamics programming, or new like blockchain, or if something else new entity comes like quantum computing, anything comes, immediate support and updating of this software will happen. That means the Flutter is a long lasting and it's gonna stay in the market for a while. And if you are early birds and you capture this market, and you can get a good job, and you can get into a reputable company using this one. Let's say about next slide. So here let me show you what is the difference between an Flutter and a normal Android development. In Android app development you use Java, but if you are using an iOS app development you use Swift. So what happens is for each programming language you need to learn a new programming language. In order to omit that, in order to have one set of lines, one set of codes, one set of programming language, we use Dart. So what happens is when I use Flutter, it integrates both Apple as well as Android, iOS and as well as Android function into a single line of programming language. So this itself will Flutter itself will support both iOS as well as Android function. So this helps. This in screen you can see how to print the hello world test. Hello world test is the simplest test for any programming language. So let it be like a Python, it be a C, C++, Java. You write the first line of code, that is hello world. Here you can see that you can deploy it into an iOS as well as an Android phone directly with just these simple line of codes. Let's see what is a Dart then. Yeah, next. Yeah. So what is Dart? So inside Flutter, there is only one programming language. This programming language is called Dart. So Dart is something which is combination of C, C++, Java, Python, and all of this stuff. So let me ask you something. Is anyone here who knows like C, C++, Java, Python? They have a little bit knowledge. They have been to programming, something like that. Just raise your hand. Give a thumbs up in chat. Anything. Oh, I can see some thumbs up. Awesome. I can see many people saying yes. Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yes, this is just the combination of all of these languages. It's just a combination of all of these languages, and it has made simpler to use. And if you are already knowing something, you can switch over to that. And even if you do not know here, if there is anyone who does not know, do not worry. This is the simplest and easiest one they have built that can immediately get into and apply. Let me show you the history of Dart. So Dart was actually made in 2011. That is like just now. So it will be like it is the right now it is in the growing stage. So definitely it will be like a very easy one so that anyone can make it. Let me show you some of the key features in it. So the key feature is built-in safety. So what safety means is even if you do some hectic error, it won't crash. It won't let you crash. It will like keep your code and the database and the front end run up and running. Because this one object oriented programming language, you are easy to pick up. You understand the simplistic language and you can go into it deeper and deeper quickly. So the rich set of codes that what happens is that in libraries when you are using something called as import in Python, if it is means import, if it is C, C++ means it's like hash include. So what happens is if you want to include some package or a library, it can be done immediately if you are using that, and it has a rich connection means it has lots of new collections which are coming up to date. And if you're having like a icon which you want you've seen in Facebook or in Instagram or in WhatsApp, that one can be implemented in as quickly as you want. So in hot reload, as you have already told, in hot reload means while you are running the app, if you have any changes, it can be changed immediately. That is the feature about that. The Flutter got the feature of hot reload because they are using this Dart programming language. So let me show you, and then let me show you about the asynchronous programming. So asynchronous programming, what is it is, when you have like a Bluetooth connection or a Wi-Fi connection, what happens is sometimes you are like close to the tower and you are having good internet connection, but sometimes when you are in the different room, you will have like less like slow internet connection. So how do you gather this data? How do you match this type of asynchronousness? So how to have the speed and variation of this internet connectivity, that one can be taken care of by Dart. So what happens is when you are getting one data, you have to wait. Your entire system cannot wait. Your program, when you're writing a line of code, your program cannot wait for the internet connection to be enabled. It has to run. It has to go to the next slide. When your YouTube is buffering, it has to show the comments also, comment section. So if the comment section is already shown, means it should show the comment section. Let the YouTube buffer. So that is where we use asynchronous programming, where it will automatically adjust to your speed of internet. So making it a very dynamic enabled programming. And for garbage collection, do not worry about it. It's just garbage in, garbage out. It just means that it will take care of most of the garbage which is there in the system. It does it automatically and it doesn't have anything to do with us. Okay, so let's see his history. In here, the history of the Dart programming, as I already told, it is recently developed and it is totally backed by Google. Google is literally means that as long as like if next 20 years Google is still alive, that means for next 20 years you can expect a regular update of this software. So any new technologies like what I have said, like blockchain, if they come, if they have to be implemented, can be implemented easily with few lines of code and single click. And the one of the thing is like the reactiveness of the programming software is very easy to learn and very easy to implement. It is snappy. It will work like as quick as and powerful as C++ and Python. One of the thing which they have made this programming in concept is to have the app built as quickly as possible, and it should be simple and it should be scalable. That means as an entrepreneur, if you are going to make a new app, if you want to make a new idea, you want to have it built and implemented and deployed immediately, your first base of 100 customers are there and suddenly you have a huge influx of like thousands and thousands of people. This app can scale with your customers, and you won't have to have a new types of programming language or supporting programs that has to go with like thousands of customers. So that is the beauty of Dart programming. It can have a high speed, it is very simple, and the scalability is amazing. Let's see with the programming. So for programming, there are like few. One of the main thing is data type. Then there is the conditional statement and looping. These three are the most important things, and the rest of them are some of the things like variable, comments, operators, jump statement, and functions. So what is the data type? Let's see what is the data type. So data type is nothing but when you are having a different types of data. uh, when there is a different type of data when like integer. So if it is an integer, you can definitely have a like a 1 2 3 4 5 like that, and -1 -2 -3 -4. So when there is a like different types of integer, when it does not contain the decimal, that means you initialize it into a int. When there is a double, so it's like having a decimal place. So when you have decimal place means you have multiple different denomination like 333 and last 4. So this one type of data types can be taken by double. And when it comes to string, it is literally anything between the quotation marks. So you have your name, let's say we can take a name of Rakesh, and then we'll say that yes, double quote Rakesh and double quote close. That's a string. You can immediately initialize a string. Then comes the boolean. When boolean comes, it is like a true or false. If it is true statement, it will show as a boolean type true, and if it is a false statement, it is a boolean type false. So these are the two states which are there for the boolean. And enumerator, let me tell you this, that one is like an advanced stuff which encapsulates integer, double, string, boolean. Okay, it can encapsulate anything inside it, and it is called as enumerator. And let's go for the variable. So variable is a dynamic programming program where if you are from a Python user, it is simple that you can just put n is equal to 2. It will understand that 2 is an integer. It does not contain any decimal places. So that means it is an integer. Are you following with me? Please give me a thumbs up if you're following with me. Yeah, I can see lots of thumbs up. Awesome, 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 awesome. Yeah. So that we comes to the specific data type. It will automatically specify what is the data type it needs. So if you are having something coming from a big array, so if there is an array, it has contains like a multiple integers, it will automatically assign that array as a integer. So this is the beauty of having variable called var. Okay, let's see with the condition. So if statement, let's see the if statement. Yeah, condition statement. Yeah. So for condition statement, what happens is you need a condition. When if a condition is there, then you satisfy that condition. That means it will run its code. If you there is like a certain process which is going on, and you need to run only a specific code, like print. If I have found something, that means you have to print it. Otherwise, do not print it. So how you do is you find that particular number and you put it into a condition. And when it is true, it will print it. And if it is not true, it will go outside of the loop, outside of the if statement. So here we can see condition. Condition can be done using operators. Operators is when you say that it is less than, if integer I which is less than 10. So if I is less than 10, that means it will check I how much we have initialized. If it I is initialized as 0, that means I is less than 10. It is a true statement. Less than or equal to 10 is a true statement. When we have a true statement, we say it as a true, and it goes on forward. So that is called as if statement. Let me show you before this one operators. What are the operators which are there in this one? So what are the operators that we need? So there is an arithmetic operator, that is plus, minus, multiplication, divide, and modulus. So in this one, plus, minus, divide, multiplication, you might already know. What is a modulus? Modulus is nothing but it will show the remainder of the division you have done for the number. So let's say 10 divided by 2. When 2 is divisible by 10 is divisible by 2. So that means there is no remainder, so it will come as 0. That is what is a modulus does. And then there is a relation operator. It will say that if it is less than, if it is greater than, if it is equal to, that is double equal to. And then there is not equal to, that we have exclamatory mark equal to, that is called not equal to. Then there is a logical operator. Logical operator, what it does is there are three logical operator, key main logical operator, that is and, or, and not. These three are the key main operator. So what and does is it will check if both the conditions are true. The LHS is equal to RHS. It should satisfy both of them, then only it will pass the condition. And or it will check LHS if it is 1, if it is true, and if it will check RHS if it is true. Only when either one of them is true, it will pass the statement. And what is not? What does not do is it will negate the whatever the output comes. So if your output is 1, then it will negate it to 0. If your output is true, it will negate it to false. If it output is true, it will output is false, then it will negate it to true. That's what a logical operator does. Then assignment operator. So assignment operator, what it does is nothing but if A equal to B, then A will be assigned the value of B. Let it be a string, let it be an integer, let it be a double, whatever it is, it will be assigned to A. As long as both of the data type are same, you cannot put a different data type into a different function. Both the data type should be same. And what about plus equal to, minus equal to, multiplicative equal to, and divide by equal to, or modulus equal to? This is nothing but what it does is it will take the LHS, it will add it or subtract it or divide it, whatever the operator is, to the RHS, and then reassign it to the LHS. Let me tell it to you again. What plus equal to means is it will take the LHS left hand side to the and add it to the RHS right hand side, and it will assign the value which is come out to the LHS. Got it? Everyone give us thumbs up if you have got this one. Yeah, awesome. All right. Thanks. So bitwise operator. Bitwise operator is nothing but if it is a and or, if it is dot, or if it is an increment or decrement. What increment and decrement does is it will do an increment operator to the bit. So if it is like it is more like if you want to add something, it's like something like plus plus symbol. So that is what we call as increment and decrement operators. So these type of operators are important when you are working with the if statement, or statement, if statement, for statement, while statement, when you want to increase it by certain like one digit, two digit. So that is what we do in when using the increment operator. Okay, let's go to the condition format, back to the condition formatting. So in condition formatting, we talked about if statement. Right now, you might understand that the what is the thing which goes inside a condition. Inside the condition, you have to give an operator if it is less than equal to, greater than equal to, or if it is double equal to, or if it is not equal to. If condition only takes boolean variables inside, it should be either true or false. That is the one which you can write. You cannot write directly and value. Let's say if Ajay, and it cannot be a forma. If Ajay equal to a string b, so b is the string. So then Ajay, his value is assigned as b, then it will be true. If both are equal, then it will say as true, then the if statement is passed. I hope everything is clear. Let's see the switch statement. Thanks, Jayant. Let's see the switch statement. In switch statement, what is the input we give is a variable. So in variable, what we call as case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, we can have multiple number of cases. When we put switch the case number, here we have given value 1, value 2, value 3. So it goes down like that. So that means if we put switch bracket open and value 1, that means it will go to the case value 1 and it will execute the code. Then you have to write break statement after the end of the case. Otherwise, it will go to the next statement and it will start printing the value 2. You have to only write case value, whatever the code you want to do. If it is a case 1, that is like whatever the variable value 1, and you have to write the case, and whatever the code you want to execute, then you have to write break statement. Then that means it will stop at there and it will exit out of the switch statement, and it will exit. And what happens if we give a different value? That is like here we have only value 1 and value 2. What if we give value 3? What will happen then? That time what happens is it will go back to default statement. So in default statement is when the value does not match and it will throw an error. It will like show that print, you will say that here we have given us variable is wrong, variable 3 is not available. We can print out in that default statement. That's how we know that we have a case which is not yet explored, or we have not programmed this case yet, or we do not have any other assigned variable in this case. So that's what a switch statement does. Okay, let's go to the next one. So looping, this is the most used thing in programming. We use loops a lot everywhere. So let it be a while loop, do while, for loop. This is something which is most used. So let's see what do we have here. While bracket, in that bracket we'll write a condition. So what do we write the condition in? So it will be something like if statement, how we have written less than or equal to, greater than equal to, or double equal to, or not equal to. The output should be true or false. So while the condition is true, it will execute this code. While the condition is true, it will execute this code, these lines of code. And that is what a while statement does. As long as the condition is true, it will keep on going. If you write while open bracket true, close the bracket, and if you write a certain codes like print high, it will keep on printing high indefinitely. So that's what a while loop does. Let's see another one case for a looping code. looping statement. A do while loop. This is a do while loop. So what is the difference between a while loop and do while loop? While loop executes the code, first execute the condition, then it execute the code. But in do while, it will execute the condition, it will execute the code, then it will execute the condition. So that means do first the code, then you do the condition. That's what we say as a do while loop. That here in the condition similar to that, true or false are the only input which it takes. And if you use like operator less than or equal to, greater than equal to, not equal to, or double equal to. Let's go to the next one, that is the for loop. Yeah, so this is the third one, the for loop. For loop is one which has the condition and the exit condition built inside it. So basically what you do is you initialize the initialize the first initial position, then you put the condition, then you say when to get out. All three of them will be in the same bracket, and then you run the code. So what we can do is we can run, if you want to run this loop 10 times, let's say we want to run this loop 10 times, that means we can do it using this for loop. This is a for loop. Let me repeat it again. This is a for loop that can have a condition built inside it, the entry condition and the exit condition. We have a question. Sir, will you explain a use case for do while loop? Yes. Okay. So let's go back to the do while loop. So do we have an example here? No, I don't think so. So okay. So do while loop, what happens is when we have a condition where you have to initialize some parameters. So what happens is, do you initialize the first parameter? Let's say I is equal to array's first element, and then you add the second element into the first element, then you check the condition. First array you have to assign the value and then check the condition, and you execute the loop. So what happens is, if you do not assign the first value, that means it will be empty. If it is empty, then you have, when you, if the condition itself is false, then your output will be empty. So this is one case scenario where we use do while loop, so that first it does at least the first initialized condition, then it goes to the next condition. This is what we call as a do while loop. Do while loop, what it does is simple. First execute the code, then run the condition. I hope that answers the question, Sai. So Sai, you have answered the question? I have answered the question. Awesome. Thanks, man. Okay. Let's go to the example of this loop statement. Oh, a given example of for statement. Yeah. We have an example here for for statement. Let's go. Hi Chandra, can we go for that example? Yeah. So for statement, what we do is, if you want to run the code for, let's say, 10 times. So we have to run the code 10 times. Whatever it may be, we have to initialize run the code for 10 times. What we do is, for int I equals to 0. It is similar to C++. If those people who are already knowing C++, Java, thus it is similar to that. For Python coders, no, this is not equal similar as Python. So what it does is, I equal to 0, then you put a semicolon, then you put the condition I less than 10. What it does is, till 10 it will have the, it will run the, till 9 it will run the code, and when it comes I is equal to 10, 10 less than 10, it is false. So it comes out of the loop. In update method, what you put is the operator. So operator is like, you will say to increment it. So I plus plus is an incrementer. If it is like I minus minus, if you want to increment from 10 to 0, that means you put I minus minus. But here you have the case where I plus plus. So what it does is, it will increment after each iteration of the for loop. Okay. We have a question from, yeah, I hope that answers Lakshmi. I hope that answers. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, man. So the syntax for writing the for loop in C code and dot are same. Yes, yes. The for loop for C++, Java, all are same. This one is as similar as that one, and it's as powerful as that. You don't have any difference in the code line of code. I hope that answers the question. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Anyone has any doubt? Let's see. We have Sai asking for, if you want to print 1 to 100 numbers, we use for loop. You can use for loop, you can use while loop too, you can use do while also, but it is much more convenient for people who already know the limit. So what happens is, while loop, if you do not know the limit, it will suddenly exit out of the loop. Then you use while loop. It is much more easier and simpler to suddenly say that if this condition satisfied, put the case as false, put the condition as false, and it will exit out of the loop. That's what a while loop can do. But for loop, it is much more convenient to do multiple, like 100, 0 to 100. So 0 to 99, 1 to 100, it is easier. So what we do is, I int I is equal to 0, I less than 100. Or in this case, let's say 1 to 100, right? I is equal to 0. We have to initialize int I is equal to 1. We have to put it as 1. We have to put the starting number as 1. Then you semicolon I less than or equal to. Less than or equal to. Here you might see less than 10. You have to specify it as less than or equal to 100. Then you put semicolon I plus plus. Then you close the bracket. Then you write print I. That's it. Then you will be able to use for loop for printing from 1 to 100. Okay, I hope that helps you, Sai. And we have another. Can't we import the files and directories in Dart into C compiler? No, 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 no. We cannot do that one. There is like multiple instances where the Dart programming is much different from the C programming. There is like that compiler wouldn't accept that one. The compiler is totally trained and modified to accept Dart programming only. It does not accept different types of programming. That is a completely different things. They both work in totally different format. The speed, their ability to do some task, omitting, storing some variables, those all work in different format. Okay, yeah. So let's go to the first jump statement. Yeah, thanks, man. So jump statement, what happens is, so when you have some condition, in case of for loop is there, and you have class roll numbers like 1 to 100 or something like that, and suddenly one person has not given his roll number. So what happens is, we can find that person if condition of I is double equal to some roll number null. So if we found it's a null, then if it is equal to null, we can give it as a break statement. So that when there is a run, it is running, it will break at that particular number, and it can print out the statement so that we can rectify that null variable. We can ask that person to fill his roll number, something like that. We have a question, sir. So what makes C and Dart different from it? So what makes J and Dart different from it? Like multiple different races. So some of the things are like asynchronous programming. So asynchronous programming is where you connect to a Wi-Fi and you wait for the signal, but still run your code. You can run your code along with waiting the Wi-Fi to give you the data. This is something which Dart programming can do. There are another one thing is, it can have a hot reload. Hot reload function is something that can connect to an emulator. So what is like if you have like one mobile which is visually like it's a presenting one what do we say, one app, the app which is you are developing, and you want to show the app, it should uh, update the app, whatever like changes you have made inside it. So let's say if you have changed a widget, if you have changed a certain style, theme, format, font, size, something, it can immediately show. So that is when the hot reloading helps when you are using Dart instead of C. I hope that helps you, Satvik. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, man. So Seram is asking for is used to known range only. In case of unknown range, we use while loop. We use it for, yes, you're right. It is extremely for convenience sake. Both have their advantages and disadvantages. The most they will say that some people will say that like for loop is faster, while loop is faster. There are like different places where we controversial things are there. So you can use it according to your needs, what you're feeling comfortable with. So when you're starting with it, use whatever your for loop and while loop you're using. But starting onwards, if you're using means use as you have said. For loop for between a known range, and while loop when you are having an unknown range and unknown condition. When condition satisfied, immediately exit out of the loop. Okay. Yeah. I hope that answers Srinath. Awesome. So yeah. Then we have for doing style, we are having HTML and CSS. Yes, we have HTML for CSS, HTML. We use for web development, Kotlin. Then we have React. All those stuff we can use. Yes, but you have to learn those languages. You have to again go back to basics. You have to find those what type of style you want, and you have to import it, and you have to design individually. But Dart does that much better. How? It already has huge number of libraries, and you do not need to learn any new programming language. You do not need to have any hassles of having different versions of each programming language. So HTML, there are different languages, CSS, there are different versions of them, and you do not need to worry about all the stuff. All is taken care of by Dart as one single version and one single entity that can answer all your problems. So that is why we are using Dart. That is why new startups are using Dart, so that people learn quickly and implement their ideas and can help you grow and scale at the faster rate. Okay. So we have another question. What is the major difference between Dart and programming languages? So that is the one thing which I'll tell you again and again, that yes, Dart has major difference between many programming languages. It is similar to many different programming languages. While you're typing, it is same as any other programming language. That is the beauty of it. While you're typing, you're doing the same programming language, but when you it is executing, it works much more different, much more powerful, much more convenient, and much more easily compared to other programming languages. It can easily connect to your app, and it will can debug. You can have easily connect it to a hot reload. It can do different types of programming statements similar to others, so that you can easily shift from your C++ background. And you, if you have like very little limited knowledge in background, like in 10th class you have studied for a little bit just for the board, you can immediately get into Dart programming, and you instantly start programming with the Flutter. Okay, I hope that answers. I hope that answers for you, Sanjana. Awesome. Thank you. So what is a continue jump statement? So we have seen the break statement where the even the condition is satisfied, you break the loop. And what does continue do? Continue nothing else is that that particular iteration when you are there, that particular iterations when you're like if the condition, if there is a, like when the null comes case terms, so there is a roll number, and then you find that one person has not submitted his roll number, we have to skip it. Last time what we did is we break out of the loop and we said that I want to get this one, then only I will go forward. This time you want to skip it, chalo chalega, we have to leave it, and we have to go to the next number. So that is when we do use continue. So you skip that particular person and you go forward. That is what a continue statement does. Okay. And we have a question from Pavan. R is equal to R true. R is equal to what happens? Um, I did not get your question. Is it like RHS right hand side is equal to right hand side? True. Right hand side is equal to not equals to that one means what will happen? So I hope that is the question. So what happens is when the LHS is equal to RHS, that means it is true, and when LHS is not equal to RHS, that time it will show it will return false. So that is when the condition becomes false. I hope that's the question you asked, and it has matched. Is it, Pavan? Okay. You can ask me the question again. There's no issue. Okay. So I hope you have understood the continuous statement where you skip the number. Awesome. So you skip the number. If the condition is, if there is like it does not satisfy something, you skip the number. That is what a continuous statement does. It skip that particular iteration. So first iteration is for when the I is equal to 0. Second iteration is I is equal to 2. And if there is a null in when I is equal to 2, it will skip that statement. Here we have one example where it skips the even numbers. Then when I is percent modulus 2, the what modulus does is it will give out the remainder of a number. So let's 0 modulus 2 is it will divide it by 1 divided by 2 gives out remainder 1. So that means it's not equal to double is equal to is 0. That means it will not equal to. We have then it will show it as false. So this condition becomes false. That means it will continue the statement. It will go on with the particular iteration. If you print right now, it will show us print 1 executed. And when it is 0, when the initial I is equal to 0, or let's say I is equal to 2, so I2 modulus 2 is 0. So if you divide 2 by 2, we have remainder 0. It divides, it's able to divide. That means the remainder is 0. Then what it will do is it will skip that particular. Now it won't print out. So if we have a print statement in the for loop, the code will show us 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and that's it. That's the all the odds numbers, and 7 and 9. It will print 9 too. So all these are the numbers which it will print. I is equal to 0. What happens? Yes. So you when you are dividing 0 by 2, when you are dividing 0 by 2, it gives out 0. There is it cannot, it is like an even number. You cannot say it's an even number or odd number, but computer takes it as a even number. Computer understands 0 as an even number. It's a hard coded thing, so you do not need to worry about mathematics that is there, where which confuses most of the ways. It's 0 or odd or even number. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, so let's go to the next one. So functions, this is the most important thing. It's like function is like one thing which you will have in every single programming language, but you do not need it. It's something like a marriage. You do not need it, but it is there. So function, what happens is simple that it beautifies your code. Entire thing, when there is like a huge amount of code, you have to use functions to minimize the code, and you have to take it into chunks. So if there is a sum, if you want to add like was A and B, that means you have to have it like multiple different times. You add every time. You do not need to have it like multiple times. You put a sum A is equal to A plus B. We have to put a new variable and put it into a new one, and you have to return it. You do not need to worry about it. You can put the whole thing into a function, and it can spit out the output of the sum of A B. If it's like an array, let's say array A B C D E F G, or it's like a array of A of 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So this array, it can add all of them and spit out the output. So that's what's the beauty of a function is. It can compile your code into a very beautiful format so that the user, you, your friends, your colleagues, your people, or the people who are seeing the code can read and understand it and also implement it. I hope everyone is understanding. Please give me a thumbs up if you are able to understand up till now. Yeah, I hope it's right now. I think so. It's almost a 50 minutes mark. Please drink water. Stay hydrated. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue. So here, let me go through the syntax. So return type. That is the first statement is return type, where you specify what you want to return, what type of the variable you want to return. If you want to return an integer, you want to return a double, you want to return a string, or if you want to return a boolean variable true or false, if this condition is okay or this condition is not okay, that one we have to specify the return type. If you do not have any return type, you specify it as void, 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 which means it does not return anything. That's called void. Then function name. What does the function name means is you can name it anything. It is similar to initializing a variable. Variable can be initialized into anything. Like you write like your own name, you can write A, B, C, whatever you want. You can similar to that function name, you can write as anything. Then comes the parameter one, parameter two, parameter three, and so on. These parameters are the one which you give to this function. Why do you need to give to this function is because sometimes there is something called as global variable, local variable, so and normal variable. So what is this thing, what is the things which I'm saying? Global variable means it is available throughout your code. A global variable means which is available throughout the code. But what does a local variable mean? Local variable which is available only inside a particular function. So what is the benefit of this one is when you have the same name in multiple different places, like let's say for n is equal to a. So that one is there in the global variable. But when there is a function, you can again put n, and you can use that n as a local variable. So when you have multiple different same name, you can use it multiple different times. That is what we have it as separate global variable and local variable. That is the benefit of having two different types of variable. Okay. So that is the why we use parameters, so that it can be localized. So we can give it specific parameters which we want the function to operate on. And then let's go inside the code. Inside the function, we have opened the bracket. We have seen return results. Return is a function, is something like it will return to the return type. There you are seeing on the return type and the results are in the same data set, data type. So whatever you want to return, let's say we have done one crunching of algorithms, or we have done a sorting algorithm, or we have done a small addition algorithm where we want to return the value. So when we return the value, that is called return whatever the value, the result of your whatever the function you have done into the return type. That is what the entire function is encompasses. It has a return type, then you have a function name, then you have parameters like multiple different parameters, then you have the return result. Okay, let's go to the next function. Next one. This is next one is, hi Chandru. Yeah, Chandra. Sorry. Yeah, I can see. So what
Okay.
is a return without a value? What is a return without value? So the written without value is where I said that if you use void, if you're just using this for something like a printing of this variable, or you want to just have swap two numbers into a data set. If there is a data set and you want to swap two numbers, but you do not want to have anything to return from that function. So this is where you use void. So that means it does not give back any function. You just call this function and that's it. Over. You don't need to worry about it, and it will automatically take care of whatever it is supposed to do, like printing or swapping to variables. Whatever it is, it will take care of it. So that is why we use this return without variable void. So next one we'll see. This is next one will be when returning value, uh, when returning value, like if it's this one is an example for if you want to return a particular value of particular integer. So let's say here they have added two numbers. So how do you do it? So you initialize the function, then you say that int add whatever the function name is. You can put anything, add ab, or then you open the bracket, int a comma int b, then you close the bracket, then you present it, yeah, then you do the return of a plus b. So what happens is it has to have int result. So result is the one keyword which has to be there, and then you have to put equal to the function, what are the function you are calling. So when you are calling right now 3 comma 4, that means it is calling, it is adding 3 comma 4, and it is returning to the result, and it has to be assigned to a value. Last time we were only calling it without having any, excuse me, one sec, sorry for the disturbance. Yeah, sorry for the disturbance. Yeah, I hope you're able to hear me.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
awesome, awesome, awesome. So here we have return variable. So what happens is int result is equal to add 3 comma 4, which is adds the 3 and 4 and returns it to a result. Last time we had void in that place. So while there is void, you just call the function, and that's it. You do not need to do anything else. You just call the function and it will take care of it. But in this one, you have to assign it to a certain variable. You have to assign a certain variable, then only it will work. Okay, awesome. Next, is there any doubt? Sorry, my chat has been cleared, so I wanted to check. Uh, yeah, Chandru, do you see any question which I have not answered? Can you just read it out for me?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Chandru.
Just a minute. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
I think is indentation necessary in data? Have you answered this question, sir, before?
No, no, no. So
Okay.
indentation. Uh, for indentation, what do you mean like indentation? So if you're meaning like what type of like what indentation is there to like void int stay double, then the function name, then you want to have
No,
what
sir. Is
it is.
is
Uh,
actually referring to the spaces for each line. The indentation is asking for is asking about the indentation.
Okay, okay. The spaces, the lines of this one. Yes,
Yes, sir.
the spaces is not required like Python. If you are using Python, I believe that question is coming because of that one. So if you're using Python, yes, the spaces are important. But in this one, you do not need to worry about spaces. But yes, you need to worry about the square, the open bracket, closed bracket in every single place. Okay, this one works similar to C++. So you have to open and close bracket at every single place where it's required. But if it is Python, yes, the spaces are more important. In this one, spaces are not important. And we have another one question. Call by value, call by reference. Yes, 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 yes. So right now, so the call by value and call by reference is also one important topic which we are not discussing this one, but we have this one where we have calling by the reference to the name. So what we have here is, here we have a good example where it shows the where we have a parameters. But next slide, I think so. Can you, Chandru, can you shift to the next slide? Yeah. So here we will show that when you have a print details, we are printing some details. you put a open bracket and you specify what is the name of it. So what we can do is we have name. So name, if you put, we have like name, and we can call that value. If this first parameter, then there is a second parameter for a function. So there is a first parameter, then there is a second parameter, then there is third parameter. But if there are like 10 parameters, how do we know that we have to call that particular parameter? Where is the parameter is stored? Is it in the first parameter, second parameter? If Bob is in the second parameter, how do we know that? How do we specify that this is the one which I'm calling it? So that's what we do as Bob. Name apostrophe Bob. Then age, we assign it as 30. Okay, so we call them with the age and call with the name. Okay, so that's where we use this name reference and age reference. Let's go to the another one where we specify if this one is a requirement. If there is like some places where we use multiple parameters, but there is an optional parameter. Chandru, can we go back to the one slide? Yeah, so here we have the optional parameters. So what happens when there is an optional parameter? So what happens is it opens a bracket and string question mark sender. So here we have an example where there is two parameters. One has like a square bracket. In previous one we saw that it was having a open flower bracket, but here we have square bracket string question mark. So what does it mean is it is an optional parameter. So in case if the where the function is called, it has like one more parameter, that is the parameter 2. If it is available, we can check that inside the function if sender is not equal to null. So if they have specified something, then print this statement where messenger is or message from sender is printed. But if they have not specified, where the void main, in that they have presented where prints message is given, prints message hello is given. That time what happens is it will go and call only the first parameter one. The second parameter is null, so in the condition it will fail, and it will say as print message, that is hello. Okay, this is the optional parameter. That one is the parameter where we call it by exact references to its name. Okay, so that's the function. Next. Yeah, we have one more question. So what does the dollar symbol indicate? So let's say that there are different types of symbols. In each condition there is a different different references which we have to give. Here the name is given to the dollar, so that when you are putting in a string, there is a like it has to refer to that particular name. So inside a string, it's a string statement. So when there is a double quotation, you have to put inside a statement. When you put the dollar, there is that it means that there is a value in it. It's not string; it's a value. So when you have to put an value inside the string, that time you say that there is a dollar and then the name of the variable. Then you have to call it back. Then the name is already called, and it will put in when you are executing. Okay, I hope that helps you. Yashwini, yeah, I hope that understands. So we have a question from Sai. I have downloaded the SDK and assigned the environment variable installation extension in VS Code. After that, how to create a basic app? Okay. You have already installed the SDK and okay, I will tell you. I think so. Tomorrow is the installation. I will let you know how to do how to create the basic app. I think so. You have to run like Doctor, and you have to run and check if all the condition has satisfied. If you have some missing parameters, that one I will do it tomorrow. I will let you know that one. Okay. There's just one line of code. Doctor Flutter. The Doctor Flutter, if you write in the VS line of code, If you open the console, it should be able to run and check what all the things are which are missing, and it will immediately fix it. Okay, awesome. So guys, we have come to the end of the session. We have like, I think so we have learned like basics of like conditions, basic of loops, and how to use a function, and all the these are the like the basics of basics that we require for going into the time when we are going to program it. We have one question from Sai. Sir, discuss about the structure and the input function scan. Discuss our structures and input functions can. Yeah, that is a good topic. That one is where you have like multiple different variables. So the structure and input functions, we won't be requiring right now. We'll go into in depth in the when you are going inside the coding session. So for everyone who does not know what does the question means, so structure is something like you have like a different types of variables. So if there is like a one time we have an integer, one time we have a string, you want to connect all of this into one single variable. So how do you do that? That is when the structure comes at place in. Then there is input function. Input function is something like if the user name wants to input something, then how do you input? In this case, I would say that does not require an input function. So what do you do is we take the input from a state like a box statement where we go into an app and we will say that user to input into that box. So that is where the input comes in. Right now, it is not. Right now, in Dart, there is nothing called as input function. It has an input function, but it does not require right now for you to learn. Similar to C, C++, and Java, Python, other programming languages where you put when the user has to put something like, let's say user says A is equal to 10, B is equal to 10, then you have to add A, B, something like that. That input is not there, no, not required in the Dart programming language. I hope that answers your questions. Okay. Yeah. So anyone else has any doubts, any questions regarding anything which they have come across? They might have like heard about it somewhere else, so that you can ask me right now, so that I can help you and guide you in the right path, so that you will be able to enjoy along with learning new concepts. I hope everyone had a good session in this one. Yeah. Tomorrow also the session timings will be same. Chandra will update you on that one. Don't worry. What's the difference between Flutter and Dart? Okay, so Flutter and Dart are not different. Flutter is the entire entity. The Flutter is the entire entity, whereas Dart is the one which is operating the entity. The Flutter is the entire entity, and Dart is the one which is operating an entity. It's like the brain of the Flutter. Okay, I hope that helps you out. And Saya, sir, for giving more than one like array, how to declare? So you want to know how to declare an array, right? So declaring an array will be like something like int. You declare it int square brackets, then you put in a variable, then equals to, you put this flower braces, and then you separate each element by comma, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, and you close the bracket. That is the array definition. Okay, that's how you define the array. You declare the array. Okay. Attendance, yeah, the attendance, please stay stay till the attendance is form is permitted, so that you can there you can fill in the form. Okay. So here we have, sir, I did not get why we don't need scanner classes. Will everything will be given in the program itself? Scanner classes, you want a scanner classes for? Scanner classes, are you talking where the scanner classes comes from the Java, I believe? I'm not sure. But in this one, most of the classes which is required when you are writing the program, it will be done by itself. It will have the all the requirements will be first only it will be printed out. So you just need to add them. Okay. Okay. And sir, giving the size of the array is defined in the input. You want to have the input. Sir, giving the size of the array is defined in the input for giving input. Let me be clear about the input method. So input method is not required in Dart. It is taken from the when the user has in the app you type the text or you type in you check a checkbox. So that's how the user inputs. That's where you take in the input. You do not take in the input inside a Dart programming language because it is running inside a app. Okay. But if you are asking about this giving the size of an array, so you can initialize the size of the array, or if you leave it blank, it will take in the size of the whatever the inside the bracket, how many numbers it will automatically calculate it and it will assign it. You do not have to worry about having to assign it. Okay. While declaring the array, the size of the array should declare or not. Yeah, that one you do not require to declare it. If you're putting already initializing it into a square get a square bracket in the squiggly bracket, it will automatically assign the variable. You do not have to worry about it. Okay. You do not have to say that yes, you have to say 10. Your 10 means 10, or we have to bracket and you have to put it in. Okay, that is something like Python, where you do not need to assign the value. You can just keep on having it add automatically. Yes, it is getting dynamically. Yeah. And if you are wanting to add in the future, if you are adding when you are in the for loop, if you are adding something a variable, that is a separate thing. Okay, that one you have to put the dot add method, add to this array, then only it will insert into the method. Okay. And we have another question. So is there any programming like that has almost same syntax like Dart, any of from Python, Java, C++? Yes, we have like a combination of all three of them. All three. So Python has the one of the thing where similar to Java, where we have like we just directly in assign a variable and you can immediately use it. So that is what comes where in the programming language where it is similar. So similarity, this type of similarity helps for people to change from C++, Java, Python into Dart, and it can immediately implement into it. Okay. And that means it's getting dynamically. Yeah. What is meant by type of? Okay, so the type of is right now it is just a comment. The type of means what type of variable it is there. What type of variable is it? Int? Is it a double? Is it a float? Is it a string? Is it a structure? Whatever it is, it will take it as from the type. We have specified here as a just a comment. It is not means that it's type of. It is type. It is the type which you have to input in that particular place. Okay. I hope that helps you, Gotami. Okay. And we have here, what is the difference between Kotlin and Dart? Okay, so the Kotlin have structure where we have to differentiate between each iOS, as well as we have to differentiate between Android. Here there is no differentiation. You in the build kernel, you do not need to define it. We do not need to do any of the different types of extra coding. This Flutter will take care of building the different type of iOS and different types of Android, different versions of it, and different web build and different desktop build. This one is taken care by Flutter. Dart only does the programming. It takes in your inputs and makes into an app. The Flutter takes the input from the Dart and makes it into app, which is totally possible in different types of cross platforms, such as iOS, Android, the desktop, and web development. Okay, So that's what the difference between a Dart and a Kotlin is. And Sai is asking, sir, that means using Dart we can also design a web browser. Yes. You are absolutely right. Where we can have like web development, app development, both integrated into this one. It is something similar to React.NET when we have like all the things which is combined into a single platform. Okay. I hope that answers your question. If I have not answered your question, or if you do not feel like have not gotten the exact answer which I'm looking for, please question again and again. You can ask me so that I will be able to understand that where is the one which I have left out. Okay, please ask. Yes. Awesome. Thanks. Thank you all. Please wait for the forms to be submitted. Chandra will give you the forms, and after you have filled the form, you can leave the meeting. Okay. Yeah, we have the forms in the chat box. You can ask me any question if you want. I will answer meantime, and you also please fill out the forms as we can get the attendance done. Okay. Awesome. Repeat the answer for Kotlin and Dart, right? Okay. So Kotlin and Dart, what it does is there is the Kotlin was the starting first language which where they were using it for the Android app development. Android app development, then they have extended it to the iOS. Kotlin can do iOS and Android, but the problem is that we have to write both of them separately. We have to add these one individual lines of code where they support for iOS and support for the Android version specifically. But when you come to a Dart program language, you do not need to specify it. The Flutter takes care of this type of separation of iOS and Android, and then its web development, web build. All these type of the issues will be taken care by Flutter. You just need to write the Flutter first. You just need to write the Dart programming language where you build the app. You entirely build the entire UI of the app and immediately deploy it. So that helps in differentiating between Kotlin and Dart. And one of the key features, like advantageous feature is about that is like its hot reload feature. So what a hot reload feature does is like it will like immediately, if you have changes made in the UI such that it's like aligned to the right, we have to change it to align to the left. So something like that, if we have written it, we have changed it, it will immediately show into the build into your this one, instead of such as the Kotlin will you have to build it, push it, and then it will load into the app, and then you will be able to see it. But in this one, with the Dart application, in the Flutter application, it will immediately show the output and the results, and it speeds up your process of the coding, your process of showing your results quite substantially. Okay, so I hope that helps you answer, Jayant. Yeah. Okay. Any doubts, any questions regarding any programming, or is regarding why we need programming? Why do we need this particular Flutter app development? What tools can be used for Flutter app development? What tools can be used for our Flutter app development? So I will say from the software end, there is already like a web editor where you can check the Dart programming. So if you go to the website called Dart Pad, DART Dart Pad, PAD Pad. There you can do this Dart programming right now. It is a web editor where you can directly check the your code. You can check, or you can do this logic. You can practice that. You can do a few for statement, if statement, so that you are like up to speed of on the programming language. So the link name is Dart, D-A-R-T, Dart Pad, P-A-D Pad, Dart Pad. This is the name you have to type in, search in Google. The first link, you just click it and you have the Dart editor open. Okay. And let me say on the software end, when you have to you have in your desktop, that would be the Visual Studio. Then you will have like another one called as in emulator. For emulator you have like Android app development. So that one will be that one will be helpful for you, where you can emulate and see your outputs. So that is the entire tools which we will be using. So just for now, everyone, you have the link in the chat box. So the dart pad. So this dart pad, you can directly check out. You can directly do the all your programming. You can check how it is similar to C, C++. Then you can do it how it's different from Python, and you can test out and practice in that one if you are interested. Check the if condition. Then if it is a for condition, if it is a while condition, do while, all of this, and then there's a function. You can all check all of these, and you can have a look into it. Okay, reshare the link. Yes, sure. Here we are showing the dart pad. Here you can like present. You can check all types of codes like for loop, if statement. We have here for loop, if statement. Then we have the how to print. Then there will be like functions, all of these type of things which we can do immediately. You can check in the end at any time, and you can just see how this type of things work in real time, and it will help you quickly get up to speed about how programming works. Even if you do not get it, no worries, we are there to help you at any time, anywhere. We will be going through the journey together. Okay, I hope that helped you a lot. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you for
Thanks.
the wonderful session.
Yeah, Chandru.
Guys, if you have any questions, you can ask. Guys, please fill the attendance form.
Okay, guys. I hope you have all had a good time. We have one question from Mandeep. Sir, which is easy to understand? Code, Flutter, or Kotlin? I would definitely say that it is Flutter. The Kotlin has like lots of things which you have to learn substantially, like CSS, Java. Then there is a new stuff which are coming that you have to add here to for front end. There is one that is back end. There is one that like there's lot of things that you need to learn for Kotlin comparatively. For Flutter, you'll just need to learn this one code, and you can immediately start developing apps. Whatever your idea is, you can immediately show it to the world, show it to the people. Okay, I hope that answers, Mandeep. Android Studio, yeah, Android Studio is where we actually show and enumerate all of these type of apps. So it's an enumerator where you can develop and you can present it. So what does it do is, it is simply an emulator where you have a code or programming language where you can show it. I hope that there is a difference between ideally and where you can program, and it can emulate whatever your idea is. Okay, so Android Studio is something similar, but it has lots of difference comparative to this one. Okay, I hope that answers your Shaikh. Sir, now you are using only Dart for the developing apps in your company. Yes, we are only using Dart for developing all in the entire app. The entire app is totally built out of Dart. There is no requirement of any additional add-ons. So there is no additional of any other software or any programming language which we are using. So you can entirely be dependent on a Dart. Okay. any in future also, when you're going to a build industry, that their requirements might be different. They will have to, they will be like, you have the entire setup in Dart and the backend will be something else. So but for the front end, whatever the UI you are trying to show, whatever you're trying to present, whatever you're trying to make, it can be totally be dependent on Dart. Okay. For backend purposes, that backend purposes, let's say if there is something like one Firebase application. So Firebase has its that it can be done in one particular language. So it is done in a different language. So that is totally different. We are only focusing on the front end UI. So what you are seeing in your app, what you want to do, like say like alarm settings, alarm app, if you are making, means how to make the alarm app, how to make the UI so that it is harder for you to unlock it while it's the alarm is going on, something like that. These type of things are the front end part, will be the one which the Dart will be taking care of. When you, whereas in other programming language you have to learn CSS, then you have to learn Java, and then you have HTML. For getting all of this combined and all of this wrapped up, and then you have to emulate into another system and build, and then you have to compile, then you have to produce into an app. This type of things entirely is squeezed into one singular programming language and one singular entity called Dart and Flutter. Okay, so that is what this one does. Awesome. Thanks, man. Anyone has any more questions, any more doubts? Okay. Okay, guys. So this is the end of the session. Thank you for having me, and thanks for your cooperation. Awesome. Thank you, Chandru. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Yeah. Awesome, man. See ya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your valuable information.
Awesome.